So back in the old world, a king could measure his worth in things like gold and castles and feudal subjects. But that stuff don't fly in Texas. Now, if a king could measure his worth in things like cattle and land and oil, well, now that's a Texified king we might be able to get behind. And I've got just the candidate. Down in Kingsville! This episode was made for y'all with the help of our awesome partners. Check the caption for more info. Kingsville sits about 40 miles southwest of Corpus Christi and about 2 hours from San Antonio and Brownsville, give or take. Today, Kingsville is comprised of right around 25,000 folks, many of whom are happy javelinas from Texas A&M Kingsville or proud pilots from the Kingsville Naval Air Station. But then, of course, there are the many kings of Kingsville, as it's become quite a hotbed for retired royalty. I mean, just look around. Why, there's old King Louis. Seems to be paying some municipal bills. Having a little trouble with the drop box there. He was never that great at paperwork. And there's King Henry. Ooh, still having wife problems, it seems. Maybe the 12th one will work out for him. And there's Poseidon, king of the sea. Looks like he found his land legs. Ah, King Tut, just sitting around doing nothing. Typical Tut. And King of Hearts. You'll never meet a kinder card. I think that about does it. Elvis, King of Rock and Roll. Yeah, but despite their number and prestige, none of these guys are the true king of Kingsville. That honor resides with a different king. And to learn about him, we're heading to the King Ranch Museum. Inhabiting an old ice factory, this museum gives just a small snapshot into the grand King Ranch. So here he is, the king of Texan kings, Captain Richard King. He came to Texas by ship and in 1853 purchased the first 15,500 acres of what we know now as the King Ranch. In over 150 years of existence, the King Ranch has grown to near mythical status, and for good reason, as it's hard to even comprehend how big this ranch is. It's comprised of 4 chunks in South Texas: the Santa Gertrudis Division, the Laurelis Division, Encino Division, and Norius Division. In total, it covers 825,000 acres. That's over 1,300 square miles. Put together, it's bigger than the state of Rhode Island and roughly the size of Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston combined. So is Captain King a real king? Might as well be. Sadly, he didn't live to see the ranch become what it is today. It was his wife, Henrietta, and the still growing King family. At one point, the King Ranch had property spread across 5 different continents. And what made this ranch a Texas-sized fortune is its cattle. So the King Ranch has always been big beef in the cattle business and even developed the very first American breed of beef cattle. It was also the first new breed recognized worldwide in over a century. And this is it right here. It's called the Santa Gertrudis, and this is the very first sire, the bull named Monkey. The Santa Gertrudis is now a power breed, not just in Texas, but around the world. However, it's not just bulls and beef. The ranch also raises horses, cotton, pecans, sorghum, turf grass, even pickup trucks. Well, sort of. But they did inspire one very interesting car built specifically for the ranch. All right, so this is El Caneño. It's a Buick specifically designed in 1950 for hunting on the King Ranch. Check this thing out. It's a convertible so that you can see what you're hunting for. You got rifle holders on the side for quick access to your guns. And built into the back of the front seat, there's even an adult refreshment center. Because hey, you're the king, so you're gonna do a lot of entertaining, right? I mean, this thing is awesome. With Tony Frizzell's famous photographs and some amazing artifacts, the King Ranch slowly moves from Texas tall tale to a ranching reality. Now, as the years passed, it became obvious to the Kings that the future wasn't in cattle drives, but in the railroad. So Henrietta King donated land to bring the railroad just outside of the ranch gates. And once the train arrived, the town of Kingsville wasn't far behind. The big boom of the railroad brought not just new people to Kingsville, but also new businesses. And some of those old businesses are actually still in business. Like this one, Harold's Kingsville Pharmacy and Soda Fountain. Since 1916, Harold's has been keeping Kingsville medicated. Only nowadays, their hometown remedies go way beyond the bottle. After all, who doesn't need a little shopping and hamburger pharmacology from time to time? And it's all owned by the friendliest pharmacist with the fanciest facial hair on the planet. All right, so this is Nick Harrell, third-generation pharmacist here in Kingsville. So tell me a little bit about how this place got started.
My grandfather in 1916 moved to Kingsville and bought an existing store. Been in operation ever since.
So it's way more than just pharmacy.
Well, it is an old-time drugstore that whatever you need, you can come in and find.
Whatever you need is true.
This is the strangest pharmacy I've ever been into.
Including ancient cell phones.
Did you catch the Miami Vice episode this weekend? It was fantastic.
Home decor and mustached mugs.
I think the Nick Harrell is on here somewhere. So is there a pretty good old timers coffee club here in the morning still?
We have people, there's a 2 o'clock group and a 3 o'clock group.
You have to apply to be in those groups, or?
No, you just kind of sit and visit with them. It used to be there was a group that would meet every hour on the hour. If you wanted to find certain people, you knew what hour you could come in here and find them.
You can definitely still find the community here at Harold's. But one thing you won't find might surprise you.
Do you guys serve King Ranch casserole?
No, we don't. We don't. King Ranch casserole is chicken. King Ranch is beef, so, you know.
I hadn't thought about it that way.
So we
That's
have
a very
hamburgers.
good point.
We have hamburgers and we have beef enchiladas and things like that.
No chicken, huh? Not a problem for me, or it seems anyone else.
Harold's is the place you have to go. We bring family in town, you have to come to Harold's. Great food, hometown atmosphere. What more could you ask for?
Hey,
I don't know.
Hey, man. I've been coming here for years. I mean, it's still the same hometown. You get your pharmacy there, your food here, and your gift cards over there, and purses.
All right, man, so what did you have for lunch today?
I had the double meat cheeseburger with grilled onions, grilled jalapenos. I love the onion rings.
Okay,
And usually I get a phosphate, which I'm finishing up on.
Phosphate, just one of the soda fountain classics that it's time I try.
All right, so instead of going with something classic like a burger and fries, I decided to break soda fountain tradition and went with a plate of homemade Tex-Mex food. Look at this, you got 2 cheese enchiladas covered with chili con carne. Over here, a crispy beef taco, rice, and beans. Well, then on the side, this is definitely soda fountain tradition. It's a phosphate, which is basically like a soda with fruit, some vanilla flavoring, and ice. That's very good. Time to Tex-Mex. Oh, you see how cheesy that is? That's good stuff. You know, I kept asking people what they recommended, and it basically spanned the entire menu, so you know the whole thing has got to be good. The question is, am I going to save room for a milkshake? And the answer is, there's always room for a milkshake.
So with my chocolate shake in hand, let's visit another historic downtown business, the King Ranch Saddle Shop.
Ah, I love the smell of a good saddle shop.
We now interrupt this programming to remind you to like and subscribe. Now back to the road.
This is definitely the best smelling side of the ranch. Maybe it's the history, maybe the craftsmanship, but there's just something about the King Ranch's Running W brand that epitomizes the sweet, sweet smell of Texas. And while they do sell tons of items, the bread and butter of this shop is still saddles.
Okay, so this is Robert Salas, the saddle maker here at the King Ranch Saddle Shop, and he is the master back here building some amazing stuff. Tell me a little bit about a King Ranch saddle.
Heavy leather, heavy saddles, tradition of the generation before, and we still do it the same thing.
Same way.
We don't deal with something like imitation. It's gonna be something like the original.
Started by the ranch to make saddles that could live up to the harsh demands of the King Ranch cowboys, these saddles were so good that they are now sold to people all over the world.
This one is from Venezuela.
Oh, cool.
Customer from Tucacas, Venezuela. This one is from Tennessee.
And are passed down from generation to generation.
The person who taught me to work in this shop, my father-in-law. 1959, that saddle right there.
Oh, wow. That's cool. So this is a family legacy for you, too, of making the saddles.
Like the customer, they want something. Somebody said, I want a cutting saddle with a cushion.
Looks like my kind of saddle. It's like a big, comfy couch.
The saddles can be customized however you like it. Do you need a working saddle, a cutting saddle, a roping saddle? Do you want tapaderos on the stirrups or designs on the side? Everything's fair game, as long as it can be made with old world techniques by hand.
How many man hours go into each saddle?
If it is a working saddle complete with accessories, 85 working hours. And if it is a working saddle with a basket wheel design like that one right there, it's 155 working hours.
Because all of that has to be done by hand?
By hand. Yes, we don't have any machine at all. You used to do it one after another one.
So much time and artisanship goes into every saddle that each one now permanently bears the signature of its maker.
Robert Salas, 2014. So you're not really just paying for a logo here. You're paying for something much more than that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you, Robert.
Oh, you're welcome.
This is really great.
Anytime.
You do amazing work. I mean, I got to get a horse first, but the second place I'm coming is to this saddle shop to get a saddle.
Yeah, I may not need a saddle, but I could use a souvenir.
Leather jacket. Now we're talking. Oh, yeah. Kind of Indiana Jones-ish, if you know what I mean.
Well, we've learned the history and we've smelt the saddles. The only thing left to do is to visit the actual ranch. And while it stretches for miles and miles of Texas, the headquarters is just 3 miles outside of town.
All right, so we are just outside of town, but standing at the edge of the vast King Ranch. And this is our tour guide for the day, Marlette Bond. So tell me a little bit about what we can expect to see when we visit the ranch.
Well, welcome, Chet. We're just so excited to have you here. Hopefully we'll be seeing some cattle and some horses, some historic buildings, and learn about the history of the ranch. We have between 30 to 50,000 visitors a year.
I've heard about the King Ranch my entire life, and then to see it with my own eyes is pretty exciting.
There are a number of ways to experience the ranch. The most common is the bus tour, happening multiple times a day. But for something truly special, we've set up one of their private tours. And here's our first spot.
This is the Santa Gertrudis Creek. It's very important in Richard King's lifetime. This was the very first fresh water that he came upon in his travels. He camped on the banks of the creek. He began to fall in love with this land and visualize what he would do with it if he had a piece of it. He purchased his first Spanish land grant, 15,500 acres for 2 cents an acre. A little over $300.
Oh, wow.
Well, I can certainly see why Captain King loved it. At the time, there were no trees, just miles of grassland and wild Texas longhorns. Old Spanish bulls as he would have known them. And while some are still roaming around, the most important cattle here is by far the Santa Gertrudis.
This is a perfect place to talk about our Santa Gertrudis. These are our purebred cattle. The Santa Gertrudis breed is 5/8 of English Shorthorn and 3/8 of Brahma. And as you look at these, there's 2 main characteristics that we look for in our purebreds. First of all, that deep, dark, beautiful red coloration. And then secondly, we look for that white tip on the tail.
They look like good, sturdy cows.
Yes, they withstand the high temperatures, the high humidity, parasites, and insects here in South Texas really well.
King Ranch is still a working ranch with 35,000 head of cattle. On tours, you'll pass cowboys and cows aplenty. Historic relics and working machinery the ranch developed to clear the mesquite and weesach that was quickly claiming the prairie. Now, of course, good cowboys need good horses, and the King Ranch has and has had a lot of them.
This is our horse memorial. These horses have brought fame and fortune to the ranch. A couple of cutting horses here. One of our famous horses is our foundation sire, Old Sorrel, but our most important horse is the only Triple Crown trophy winner that we have in the state of Texas, and this is Assault.
Wow, won the Triple Crown.
Absolutely. He is the 7th of only 11 horses to achieve this honor in the world.
There are lots of interesting sights on the tour, such as quarter horse pens and, of course, the iconic carriage house. Now, one thing you won't get to see on tours is the historic mansion. It's still the private hideaway for the King family. However, you do get to visit some other historic residences, occupied by families that have been here as long as the Kings. These are homes of the Queneños, translated King's men, families from Mexico who came to this land with Captain King and are still here today. And even though I'm standing on the actual soil of the King Ranch, it still feels somewhat like a Texified legend. And speaking of legends, there is one particular cowboy that you want to keep your eye out for, especially on a full moon night. He was a horse thief, and his name was El Muerto, meaning the dead. Of course, he didn't start out muerto, but one day he tried to steal the horses of the wrong man. And Texas Ranger Bigfoot Wallace didn't take too kindly to it. So to set an example, Bigfoot removed the thief's head from his body and then tied that body to the back of a wild Mustang. For years, El Muerto, the headless horseman of South Texas, roamed the prairie, striking fear into the hearts of women, children, as well as cowboys and Indians alike. When the horse was finally captured, El Muerto's body was riddled with bullets and arrows. He was laid to rest in a nearby grave. However, some say his spirit still rides the range. The spirit of El Muerto. But back in the present day, the ranch is by no means muerto. And to see all of its life, we're hopping on a nature tour with guide Tom Langscheid.
We're going to take a walk on the wilder side of the ranch today. And we're going to get out and we're going to look for white-tailed deer, javelinas, plus a variety of birds. We're going to get out and just see what all we can find.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
These nature tours draw crowds from all over the world to see the diverse wildlife on this incredibly diverse ranch.
And let me just check here to see if anything's out. Oh, now, Chet, look up here on the bridge. We have an osprey sitting up here.
Cool.
Now,
See
some
that.
people know this is fish hawk.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, that didn't take long.
Oh, now check this bird out over here, Chet. That
Okay.
just landed on the fence.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
This is a vermilion flycatcher, a beautiful scarlet red bird.
Oh, the head is just popping huge right there.
Here we have a scissor-tail flycatcher off to the left.
Oh, that's right there. You don't even need binoculars for that
Now,
one.
Chet, do you know what state that's the state bird of?
I'm going with Oklahoma.
Yeah, state bird of Oklahoma.
All sorts of birds live on the ranch or migrate through. Colorful songbirds, a variety of ducks, and long and lean water birds like cranes. It seems like we're finding a new bird with every new minute.
How many bird species are there here on the King Ranch?
Over 360 species of birds have been seen.
Have you seen all 363?
No, I wish.
Well, I can check a few off of my list, that's for sure. And to think, I didn't come out here for birds at all, but Tom's excitement has me excited.
Oh my, look at this. We've got two crested caracaras right here real close.
Oh, wow.
And a red-tailed hawk just took off. Oh, a quail off to the left.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, a covey of quail. Now, look, we just had two lark sparrows that flew up on the fence.
Yeah, right down.
Beautiful chestnut markings on the face.
It's got the head markings like of a badger.
Yeah, exactly. It's just really cool.
He's getting me excited to see sparrows, and it's awesome.
But this next bird coming up, this is known as a white-tailed hawk. It's sometimes known as firehawk. I get people traveling from all over the United States to get a chance to see the white-tailed hawk because it does have a very limited U.S. range.
I've never had this much fun birding, but as we go deeper into the ranch, we find some mammals, white-tailed deer and javelinas.
The English name for this is collared peccary. When you see it, get a closer look at these. They're going to have a pig-like snout, but they're not pigs, they're peccary. There's only 3 species of peccary in the world, and this is the only species that occurs in the United States.
Uh-oh, we're getting out of the van.
Oh, here's the alligator right here. See the head of it?
Yeah. Well, so how big do you think this gator is?
What, I bet this is about 5 to 6 feet. Look, it just went under.
That blows my mind. The diversity of the wildlife you can find here at King Ranch is just insane.
And for the finale of our tour, a feeder Tom has set up and a bird that I didn't know existed. It's the official bird of Kingsville, and it's called the green jay.
That is one of the most colorful birds I've ever seen.
Only place to see it in the United States is here in South Texas.
This is pretty special right here. Tom, tell me that this is a bird from the rainforest, I would believe you, but tell me that this is native to South Texas. I'm not sure I would until I sit here, I see it with my own eyes. This is amazing.
Well, that was great, but now that the day is coming to an end, it's time to leave the King Ranch and head a bit south to a different kingly estate. One that has nothing to do with cows and everything to do with the coast. It's called the King's Inn, and it's one of the most storied seafood restaurants in Texas. Ooh, looks like they're expecting a crowd tonight. The King's Inn is an old school kind of place, still adhering to old school traditions, such as no hats in the dining room. Fine by me, and it doesn't seem to bother the customers either, who've been loving this food since 1935.
It is a little slice of heaven.
Really?
You drive kind of far, and then all of a sudden you get there, and it's this little building, great views, and then great food.
The food, the service, it's just a great place to gather with friends and family, and fantastic.
So how long do you think you've been coming here?
Almost 40 years.
That's great. Has it changed much in those 40 years?
No, it's always been good, and it's really tasty.
So if you're in the area, you got to come to King's Inn, would you say?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is our, it's my priority anyway.
Oh, food for me.
But,
thanks,
yeah.
guys. This is awesome. Y'all so hospitable.
That's a good idea to remove the plate from me. This seafood is hard to resist. The only way that owner Randy Ware knows how to cook it.
So tell me a little bit about how this place got started. 1935, that's pretty amazing.
Started out as fish and chips, all you could eat for 25 cents.
Hey, that's a steal.
Actually, my mother's the driving force behind it. She was a good business head. She's one of a kind.
Now it's in your hands and you're carrying on the family legacy. So you hadn't had to tweak anything. I mean, it sort of has worked for this long.
I just took the boat over. The sail was already there.
Not bad.
Well, this ship is certainly on a steady course in the right direction. And it seems its main source of fuel is tartar sauce.
This doesn't look like any tartar sauce I've ever seen.
It's homemade tartar sauce, and it's really tasty.
Is the seafood just a vessel to get the tartar sauce into your mouth?
Exactly. Yeah, it just makes it, whatever I need to grab to get the tartar sauce. Crackers, whatever's in front of me.
Well, it's a secret recipe that nobody knows about.
What do you put it on?
Your tomatoes, your shrimp, your fish. You put it on everything, crackers, everything.
Well, I think it's time for me to eat. My word of advice, just order it all. But definitely start with an avocado salad.
Now this is the way to start a meal at the King's Inn. Some of their house avocado salad, chopped lettuce, tomatoes, avocado. Very simple, but very fresh.
Now for the main course. And since there's no written menu, I just started ordering stuff and couldn't stop.
I'm gonna start with this, some fried Gulf shrimp. There's just something about really well done fried shrimp. And over here, look at these fried oysters. They only came in the full pound, but I had to get them because I'm not gonna pass up fried oysters. Now, fish. A little bit of flour, and a little bit of salt and pepper. That's all that fish needs. Oh my goodness, I've been neglecting the tartar sauce. Let me have it on some fish here. Start with the standard. Oh man. This right here is unlike any tartar sauce I have ever put into my mouth. I don't know what they're doing to it, but I think I'm gonna try it on everything. Get into my mouth, tartar sauce. I may not be a real king, but I'm certainly eating like one.
What a day. There are the kings of old, and then there are the kings of Kingsville, eager to please with their food, saddles, along with endless knowledge and enthusiasm for this kingly land of South Texas. No snooty royalty here, just good down-home folks, which makes me like their kingdom best of all.
Well guys, this day has been as awesome as this tartar sauce. So I'll see all y'all out on the road. Bye con Dios, amigos. But also new businesses. And some of those early businesses are actually still in business, like this one, Kingsville's Pharmacy of the Heralds. How many times did I say business? I mean, this is really the meeting spot. You got all sorts of people around here. Cool. When did that happen? Suddenly, I'm from New York or something over here.
I think more like Zach Morris. Got to order a pizza or something.
Hey, I think Mr. Belding's on to us. We gotta hurry. Let's scram.
Time out. Time in. Swivel the hips back and forth a little bit. Give me one of the shaky legs. One of the shaky legs.
Howdy, y'all. Follow along with my adventures at Chet Tripper on Instagram and at The Day Tripper TV on Facebook and YouTube. Or head to thedaytripper.com for travel guides, past episodes, and info on our mobile app and Team Day Tripper.
This episode was made for y'all with the help of our awesome partners. Check the caption for more info. Howdy, y'all. Chet the Day Tripper here. Thanks so much for tripping with us. Remember, while you're here, like this video, subscribe to our channel so that we can stay out there on the road and keep on tripping. Did we miss anything in this town? Leave us a comment, let us know. We love finding out about new stops with all of your tips. And if you love Epic Texas Day Trips, remember to check our channel. We got a lot of them on there. Also, don't forget, if you want some sweet Day Tripper merch or another cool Texas-made product, come see us in Georgetown at the Day Tripper World Headquarters. You can also shop online if you check the link down there in the caption. All right, y'all. Bye con Dios, amigos.